This is called Written by Himself. I was born in minutes in a roadside kitchen, a skillet whispering my name. I was born to rainwater and lime. I was born across the river where I was borrowed with clothespins, a harrow tooth, broadside sewn in my shoes. I returned, though it please you, through no fault of my own, pockets filled with coffee grounds and eggshells. I was born still and superstitious. I bore an unexpected burden. I gave birth, I gave blessing, I gave rise to suspicion. I was born abandoned outdoors in the heat-shaped air drifting like spirits in old windows. I was born a fraction and a cipher and a ledger entry. I was an index of first lines when I was born. I was born waist-deep, stubborn in the water, crying, ain't I a woman and a brother? I was born to this hall of mirrors, this horror story. I was born with a prologue of references, pursued by mosquitoes and thieves. I was born passing off the problem of the 20th century. I was born. I read minds before I could read fishes and loaves. I walked a piece of the way alone before I was born. So this poem, I'm collaging. Somebody asked me after reading once, I said, I'm still trying to figure out the game you're playing in that poem. And he was like, I know you weren't born in a roadside kitchen. No, I'm collaging images from slave narratives. Suggestion, I've said this in the past, I sometimes feel that my sense of racial identity is most rooted in text, in what I've read, more so than any social experience. So speaking of games, there are a lot of games and kind of challenges I have for myself in this book, and as you can tell, I come to understand my own work very often from what people tell me about the poems. And somebody else told me once after reading, so I was interested in the climate anxiety poems you read. That's interesting. What is a climate anxiety poem? I said, oh, you mean my poems? Oh, okay. I said, yes, that is what I'm up to. That makes complete sense. These are my climate anxiety poems. So and the game, so to speak, is they start with some obscure literary reference, a quote taken from someone that I find kind of highfalutin, and I write poems in response to or speaking to back to these quotes. Heraclitus, we cannot know the water, but only its perpetual movement. Overheating cannot be blamed on a faulty idiot light. The car in crisis beached on the roadside and pouring steam from its blowhole as you watch the rain melt the windshield, the perfect screen for projecting a fantasy dissolve that begins with your jalopy dropped from a barge to be eaten by the reef like a dive site. An hour earlier, this bell jar hummed and clunkered as it sluiced through vacuum tubes lining the riverbed from Manhattan to Hoboken, the interstate peace pipes which lead to the suburban drive-through bank window where you hand-deliver your savings to creditors. You think of self-sabotage, dirigibles bursting the sky in newsreels over Lakehurst, flaming like immolating monks. Our machines merely echo our body's disposition, your desire for the tellers to leave their tanks and swim to your rescue, pretty as new money floating ghostly outside the car window as the last pockets of air pinch off and the water gently closes over your head.